Hello and welcome to Cluster Fudge, the podcast where we don't just scratch the surface, we dig deep, ask the questions nobody else will, and challenge the nonsense with clarity and facts. I'm your host, Alexandra, and today we're diving headfirst into a topic that honestly makes me go, wait, what? Are we really still doing this? Yes, we are. Today's episode is titled, I Don't Get It, Why There Are People Who Still Believe the Earth is Flat. Because somehow, in the year 2025, when we've sent satellites, telescopes, astronauts, and even billionaires into orbit, a disturbingly persistent segment of the population still believes that Earth is not a sphere, but a flat disk. So, what gives? Let's break it all down. Let's start here. Not in 2025. Not even in 1492, with Columbus sailing the ocean blue. Let's rewind way further, to the time of ancient civilizations that laid the foundational groundwork of science, logic, and reason. Because here's the thing that blows my mind. Humanity has known the Earth is a sphere for over 2,000 years. Not only suspected, not guessed, not believed, known, calculated, measured, observed. Ancient Greece, when the curtain lifted on the sphere. Let's begin with the ancient Greeks. Because if anyone deserves a standing ovation for early scientific thinking, it's them. Pythagoras, yes, that triangle guy, was one of the first philosophers to propose a spherical Earth sometime in the 6th century BCE. He noticed the moon was round, and since the moon was celestial and perfect in shape, he believed the Earth likely shared that perfection. A guess, yes, but a logical one. Then came Aristotle in the 4th century BCE, and he brought actual observations into the mix. He cited empirical evidence, things you and I can still witness today. 1. Ships disappearing over the horizon bottom first. If Earth were flat, the ship would just get smaller as it moved away, but instead the hull vanishes first, then the sails. That's a curved horizon at work. 2. The shape of the Earth's shadow during a lunar eclipse. It's always circular, no matter where the eclipse is observed. The only object that always casts a circular shadow is a sphere. 3. The visibility of stars. As you travel north or south, you'll see different stars appear in the night sky. On a flat Earth, we'd all see the same constellations at all times. We don't, because the Earth is curved. It's not just that people thought the Earth was round. They backed it up with logic, physical evidence, and consistency. Let's fast forward just a bit to the 3rd century BCE, where we meet Eratosthenes, the Greek mathematician and geographer who measured the circumference of the Earth using nothing but shadows, a stick, a well, and some math. Here's how he did it, and prepare to be impressed. He noticed that in the city of Syene, modern-day Aswan, Egypt, on the summer solstice, the sun shone directly overhead. A stick placed in the ground would cast no shadow. Meanwhile, in Alexandria, hundreds of miles to the north, the sun cast a shadow at the exact same time. By measuring the angle of the shadow in Alexandria and knowing the distance between the two cities, he was able to calculate the curvature of the Earth, and from that, estimate its circumference. He was off by just a few % compared to today's measurements. Over 2,200 years ago, with no satellites, no computers, just geometry and the sun. Here's another myth we need to clear up. People in Columbus's time didn't think the Earth was flat. That's a lie repeated so many times it feels true, but it's not. By the time Columbus set sail in 1492, almost all educated Europeans knew the Earth was round. The real controversy wasn't about the shape of the Earth, it was about how big it was and whether sailing west to reach Asia was a shortcut or suicide. So when we picture some medieval king saying, "Don't fall off the edge of the Earth, Chris," that's historical fiction, not reality. The only edge Columbus nearly fell off was his funding budget. And it wasn't just the Greeks and Europeans. Knowledge of a round Earth transcended continents and cultures. Ancient Indian astronomers believed in a spherical Earth and wrote about its rotation. Islamic scholars in the Middle Ages preserved and expanded Greek knowledge, refining astronomical models and geography. Chinese astronomy acknowledged the roundness of celestial bodies, even if their Earth models took different forms over time. The truth is, a spherical Earth has been the dominant scientific understanding across cultures, continents, and centuries. From observation to orbit. From Eratosthenes Shadows to Newton's physics to satellite photography, the idea of a round Earth went from theoretical to mathematical to observable in real time. Today, astronauts can see the curvature as they orbit. International airlines plot flight paths based on a globe. Weather patterns wrap around the Earth in cyclonic formations. Time zones, seasons, gravity, all of it supports a spherical Earth. It's so well established, so deeply interwoven into every modern system we use, that it should no longer be up for debate. Because when we allow fake ideas to stand unchallenged, even the ones that seem too ridiculous to believe, we erode trust in truth itself. Knowing this history isn't just about being right. It's about recognizing how hard we fought to understand our world and how easy it is to lose that understanding when we stop valuing it. So the next time someone says, "We don't really know that the Earth is round," tell them, "Actually, we do. And we've known. And we've measured. And it's time we start appreciating knowledge again, instead of rewriting history to suit conspiracies." Let's shift gears from the ancient world and walk into the modern era. A world of smartphones, rockets, satellites, and live streams. A world where proof isn't locked in books or scrolls. It's literally in our pockets, on our screens, and floating in space. And yet, even with that, there are people who still say, "I just don't see any real proof the Earth is round." Okay, then buckle up, because modern proof is so abundant and so visible and so irrefutable, it honestly takes more mental gymnastics to believe the Earth is flat than to simply accept the blindingly obvious. Let's start with satellites. There are currently over 5,000 active satellites orbiting Earth, operated by countries, private companies, and research institutions. These satellites aren't just capturing data, they're capturing images and video of the Earth from space. And guess what shape Earth is in every single one? Round. Always, from every angle. NASA's Himawari 8, Japan's actually, takes full-disk images of Earth every 10 minutes in HD. The Discover satellite gives you real-time views of the sunlit side of Earth from 1 million miles away. Even weather satellites like GOES-16 show Earth as a rotating sphere wrapped in cloud systems. This isn't CGI, this isn't a render. These are real-time photographs that anyone, including you, can access right now. And unless every country on Earth, including enemies, rivals, and independent researchers, are part of a giant intergenerational lie, what we're seeing is real. Now let's talk about GPS. Something flat earthers use constantly, while ironically denying the very thing that makes it work. GPS satellites orbit a spherical Earth and communicate with ground receivers through triangulation. The accuracy of that system depends entirely on Earth's curvature and rotation. You literally could not use Google Maps on a flat Earth. The math wouldn't work. And it's not just GPS. International flights, maritime navigation, military operations, telecommunications, they all depend on geodesy, the science of measuring Earth's size, shape, and gravitational field, all of which is modelled based on a spheroid Earth. So the next time someone says, "But I use GPS and don't see the curve," just smile and remind them, you're literally using round Earth science to find the nearest Taco Bell. Let's talk air travel. Ever notice how flights between two locations, like Los Angeles and Tokyo or New York and Dubai, don't fly in a straight line? Instead, they take what looks like an odd curved route when viewed on a flat map. That's called a great circle route. It's the shortest distance between 2 points on a sphere. Flat earthers love to say, "Why don't planes fly straight?" Well, they do, on a globe. The curve is only weird on a flat map projection, not in the real three-dimensional world. Pilots, aeronautical engineers, and air traffic controllers all use globe-based navigation models. In fact, flat Earth models couldn't get you across a single continent, let alone around the world. Shadow experiments. Do it yourself. Don't trust the government? Don't trust NASA? Fine. You can literally prove Earth's curvature yourself. Eratosthenes did 2,200 years ago with a stick and a sunny day. All you need is 2 locations at different latitudes. A vertical stick in the ground at each. Measure the angle of the shadow at the same time. With a little trigonometry, you can calculate Earth's curvature and even its circumference. No rocket launch necessary. No billion-dollar budget required. And if you're too lazy to do it yourself, YouTube is flooded with videos of students, educators, and independent skeptics doing exactly this. High-altitude balloons. Amateur footage. Still think satellites are fake? Fine, let's take NASA out of the picture again. Thousands of independent hobbyists and high school science classes have sent up weather balloons with GoPros attached, reaching altitudes of 100,000 plus feet. And what do they show? A black sky, the curvature of the Earth, a horizon that bends not because of a fisheye lens, but because of elevation. Even if you think NASA lies, are you suggesting Timmy from Tulsa, who launched a balloon for his science fair, is part of the conspiracy too? There are over 600 astronauts who've seen Earth from space, from the Apollo missions to the International Space Station to private companies like SpaceX. They've described Earth as a blue marble, a shimmering sphere, and even a fragile globe hanging in the void. Astronauts have photographed Earthrise from the moon. ISS crews livestream Earth 24/7. Civilian billionaires and their iPhones have recorded Earth from the edge of space. Are all of these people lying? Across nations, across generations? For what? What do they gain? You don't need blind faith. You need a good pair of eyes and a willingness to look. Oceans, gravity, time zones. The science that only works on a globe. Let's go deeper. Think about gravity. On a flat Earth, gravity would pull toward the center of the disk, not downward everywhere. You'd feel an increasing sideways pull the farther you got from the center. That doesn't happen. Why? Because Earth is round. Time zones? Explained by Earth's rotation, not some magical sun spotlight. The Coriolis effect, why hurricanes spin in opposite directions in different hemispheres, only makes sense on a rotating globe. Satellite orbits, auroras, eclipses, seasons, tidal forces, all of it works together beautifully on a spherical, rotating planet, and all of it falls apart on a flat Earth. The problem isn't lack of proof, it's denial. At the end of the day, the evidence is not hiding. It's not subtle, it's not vague, it's not buried in jargon. The only reason people believe the Earth is flat today is not because of the lack of proof. It's because of the willful refusal to accept proof. Because to accept that the Earth is round would require trusting institutions, accepting science, abandoning the idea that you've been lied to your whole life. And for some people that's too hard, not intellectually, emotionally. The Earth is round and the evidence is everywhere, from the clouds above you, to the plane you ride in, to the app you use to order dinner, to the live streams from outer space. You can deny it, you can fight it, you can try to meme your way around it. But you can't disprove it, because the Earth isn't just round in theory, it's round in every single system that holds up our modern life. We've covered the history, we've laid out the modern evidence. And yet there's a surprising number of people who cling to the idea of a flat Earth. So let's dive into the why. Because flat Earth belief is not about a lack of data. It's about psychology, identity, and cognitive quirks that exist in all of us. 1. Distrust of authority and experts. Institutional mistrust. Many flat earthers begin with a deep-seated suspicion of official sources, governments, scientists, universities, media. They see institutions as inherently corrupt or profit-driven and assume that big science is just another racket. Anti-establishment identity. Aligning with a flat earth worldview becomes a badge of honor, proof that you're not a sheep blindly following the herd. If NASA can't be trusted, how can any science be trusted? Except, of course, that the proof of a round Earth comes from private scientists, international space agencies, amateur astronomers, even independent hobbyists, not just one monolithic institution. Desire for special knowledge superiority, the Illuminati effect. Believing you hold secret or suppressed knowledge is intoxicating. You feel superior to the average person who's still blind to the truth. Cognitive reward. Neurochemically, having an exclusive insight triggers the same brain circuits as winning a prize. It's pleasurable, so people chase that dopamine hit by diving deeper into conspiracies. Open quote, I've uncovered what the rest of the world refuses to see. Close quote, that sense of exclusivity cements the belief even when the evidence is overwhelming. Algorithmic radicalization, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all of them recommend more of what you like. Watch one flat earth video and you'll see dozens more pop up in your feed. Over time, your digital environment becomes entirely flat content. Online communities, forums and Facebook groups become validation cocoons. When every comment agrees with you, dissenting facts feel like personal attacks. Groupthink. The more you interact with like-minded believers, the more you internalize the group's narrative and reject external facts. Confirmation bias. We naturally notice evidence that supports our beliefs and ignore evidence that contradicts them. A flat earther will cite every odd horizon photo as proof while dismissing NASA imagery as fake. Dunning-Kruger effect. The less someone knows about physics, astronomy, or geography, the more likely they are to overestimate their understanding. Without realizing actual knowledge gaps, they feel confident debating experts. Pareidolia and pattern seeking. Our brains are wired to see patterns, even where none exist. A straight horizon must be flat. A curve must be camera distortion. No neutral ground. Embracing a contrarian view sets you apart. You become part of a select tribe that resists the mainstream. Humans crave belonging, so even fringe groups can offer strong social bonds. Rebellion as value. Rejecting scientific consensus feels like an act of rebellion. It taps into a broader narrative. They've lied to us about everything. Why believe them now? Simplicity over complexity. A flat disk with clear edges is simpler to conceptualize than a rotating sphere hurtling through space at 1,000 miles per hour. For some, it's comforting to believe the world is stable and predictable. Control illusion. If the world is as we're told, vast, round, and governed by complex physics, then individuals may feel insignificant. Believing in the flat earth restores a sense of agency and control. I know what's really going on. 7. The slippery slope to broader mistrust. Flat Earth belief rarely exists in a vacuum. It often co-occurs with vaccine skepticism, climate change denial, election fraud conspiracies. Once you accept that an entire body of evidence can be fabricated, it becomes easier to reject other scientific or civic truths. It's a psychological gateway to generalized cynicism, bringing it back to reality. Understanding these psychological drivers doesn't mean we condone flat Earth belief. Far from it. It helps us see that arguments based purely on facts may not reach the heart of the matter. If someone you know clings to the flat Earth idea, simply reciting data won't always shift their worldview. Instead, consider building trust. First, find common ground outside science. Shared hobbies, community projects. Engaging empathetically. Ask why they believe it. Listening can soften defenses. Encouraging critical thinking, introduce small non-threatening experiments, shadow measurements, local observatories, skywatching nights, because at the end of the day, we're not just battling a silly idea, we're fighting a deeper mistrust of truth itself. All right, by this point in the episode, we've peeled back the layers of history, modern science, and psychology behind the Flat Earth movement. But now, we're going to go somewhere even more uncomfortable. The money. Because while some flat earthers are true believers, others are just cashing in. Welcome to the weird, warped, and sometimes shockingly lucrative world of flat earth conferences, content creators, and con artists. The commercial ecosystem that thrives on the rejection of reality. Flat Earth is a brand and business is booming. Let's be clear, Flat Earth isn't just a fringe belief system. It's a subculture with an economy, complete with merchandise, events, monetized platforms, and Patreon backers. We're talking t-shirts with "The Earth is Flat, Change My Mind," YouTube videos pulling in tens of thousands of views, sometimes millions, paywalled truth communities with monthly fees, and yes, Flat Earth conventions with keynote speakers, workshops, and VIP packages. This isn't just misinformation, it's a fully functioning marketplace of pseudoscience. You might be surprised to learn that Flat Earth conventions are not some internet joke. They're real, they're organized, and people fly across the country to attend them. Events like the Flat Earth International Conference, FEIC, have taken place in the US, Canada, and the UK, drawing hundreds of attendees from all walks of life. At these conferences, you'll find scientists with no credentials giving lectures on why satellites are fake, merch booths selling research materials and anti-gravity shoes, panels on how to convert friends and family to the movement, workshops on debating round earthers. And guess what? These aren't free. Ticket prices range from $50 to $300 plus, depending on the access level, with VIP upgrades and exclusive merch bundles available. So while attendees are being sold enlightenment, organisers are raking in serious profit. Now let's talk about the flat earth influencers, and make no mistake, that's exactly what they are. They've turned misinformation into a click-driven content machine, leveraging YouTube monetization, ad revenue, super chats, memberships, Patreon subscriptions, t-shirt and book sales, TikTok and Instagram virality. One YouTuber might post a video titled "NASA Lies Exposed, the Earth is Flat, Proof They Can't Deny," and rack up 500,000 views. Another might live stream a debate with a scientist, filled with straw man arguments, aggressive tactics, and manipulative editing. The goal isn't truth, it's engagement, because controversy gets clicks, and clicks bring in money. Let's not forget, many of these influencers don't even believe what they're saying. They're performance artists, provocateurs, or clout chasers who have found a niche audience and are exploiting it. Why post cat videos when you can monetize gullibility? The bait and switch of pseudo-truth content. Here's how it works. 1. Hook the viewer with sensational claims. Everything you've been taught is a lie. 2. Flood them with doubt. Have you ever really seen the curve? 3. Sell them a solution. Subscribe to my channel for the real truth. 4. Upsell them. Get my new Flat Earth handbook for only $19.99. It's the classic grifter's funnel. Undermine trust. Provide emotional validation. Profit off the confusion. And it works, especially on people who feel marginalized, angry, or suspicious of authority. According to Google Trends and YouTube Analytics, interest in flat Earth content surged between 2015 and 2019, right around the time YouTube's recommendation algorithm started favoring high-engagement conspiracy content. A 2019 study published in Nature found that 93% of flat Earth-related video views came from algorithmic recommendations, not organic search. So, in other words, the platform itself helped amplify the grift. Even when YouTube cracked down and demonetized many of these creators, the smartest ones just migrated to Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, and private apps where they could continue monetizing their cult-like followings. For some influencers, this belief has become a family enterprise. Entire channels are branded like reality shows: Flat Earth Dad, Truth Mama, Red Pill Kids. They sell Flat Earth homeschool curriculum, stickers and magnets, Truth coffee mugs, prepackaged PowerPoint presentations for proselytizing. There's no end to the ways you can extract income from people once they've emotionally bought in. It's a monetized identity. It's not just "I believe the earth is flat." It becomes "I'm a flat earther and here's my Etsy store." Why this grift matters? Some might say, so what? It's a fringe movement. Let people believe what they want. But here's the issue. These creators aren't just selling t-shirts. They're selling a worldview that encourages paranoia, distrust, and a rejection of all expert knowledge. Many flat Earth believers go on to deny vaccines, reject climate science, and spread political disinformation. They can influence school boards, curriculum standards, and even local elections when they feel emboldened enough. And because the grift looks like grassroots activism, it fools people into thinking this is a debate, when in fact it's a strategy that benefits from chaos, not clarity. So the next time you see a viral video claiming Earth is flat, remember, someone's making money, someone's selling something, and someone else is buying more than a product. They're buying into a reality where truth is a commodity and facts are optional. Flat Earth belief may be a lie, but the hustle is real. The dangers of normalizing nonsense, why we can't just laugh it off anymore. Let's be honest, for a long time, most of us treated flat earthers like a joke, a meme, a quirky internet subculture we could point at, laugh and scroll past. Oh look, these people think the earth is flat, lol. But here's the thing, ridiculous ideas, when left unchecked, don't just die out. They mutate, they spread, and sometimes they infect things that matter. This segment isn't about mocking, it's about asking the hard question. What happens to a society when it starts tolerating, entertaining, and even amplifying ideas that are fundamentally false? Let's break it down. 1. When we treat conspiracy as opinion. There's a dangerous pattern that's taken root in modern discourse, where truth and opinion are treated as interchangeable. You believe in round Earth? Cool, I believe it's flat. You trust NASA? Well, I don't. Agree to disagree. That's your reality, I have my own. It sounds tolerant, it sounds democratic, but it's not, because scientific facts are not up for debate. There's no both sides to whether the Earth has a gravitational core or whether Antarctica is a wall of ice. Yet this kind of false equivalence has become routine. Platforms will host flat Earth debates like it's a valid topic for discussion, giving fringe ideas the illusion of credibility. By giving these beliefs airtime, even just to entertain them, we reinforce the myth that maybe there's something there, and that's how nonsense becomes normalized. Algorithms reward what society doesn't correct. Social media platforms are designed to reward engagement, not accuracy. So what happens when we let pseudoscience trend? It trends more, and soon you're not just watching a flat Earth video for laughs, you're watching 10, and the algorithm thinks you're interested in that world, so it serves you more and more, until suddenly you're seeing anti-vaccine content, climate denial, QAnon conspiracies, fake moon landing theories, and outright science denialism that can lead to real-world consequences. That's how a joke becomes a pipeline. It's not just about the Earth being flat anymore. It becomes a worldview of deep distrust, where facts are optional and the enemy is anyone who demands accountability or evidence. The erosion of education and critical thinking. Let's talk about the classroom, because yes, flat Earth thinking has made its way there too. There are documented cases of students challenging science teachers mid-lesson, citing YouTube videos, parents demanding alternative cosmologies be taught in public schools, school boards in certain districts debating whether flat Earth materials qualify as philosophical perspectives. This is terrifying, because it's not just about one silly idea, it's about dismantling the foundation of scientific education. When we start treating well-established facts as mere belief systems, we rob future generations of the ability to think critically, separate evidence from emotion, identify misinformation, understand how the natural world works. If we raise a generation that believes science is subjective, we risk creating a post-fact society where the loudest voice wins, not the most truthful one. 4. Political and public safety consequences. Believing the Earth is flat might not get someone hurt on its own, but the mindset that leads someone to believe it can. It's the same mindset that refuses vaccines during a pandemic, spreads lies about election fraud, denies climate change while coastlines disappear, believes forest fires are caused by space lasers, attacks institutions like journalism, science and education, calling them part of a global cabal. It's the I do my own research mentality, which often means watching conspiracy content on loop until reality becomes distorted beyond recognition. And when enough people adopt that lens, it undermines public safety, it disrupts democratic systems, it radicalizes otherwise normal individuals. The consequences of normalizing nonsense aren't hypothetical, they are measurable and they're already happening. On a human level, normalizing fringe beliefs isolates people, both those who believe them and those who don't. Flat Earth believers often report being ostracized by family or friends, but that's partly because they've adopted a belief system that denies shared reality. You can't have a rational conversation with someone who doesn't believe in evidence. You can't reach compromise with someone who thinks you're part of the lie. And you can't maintain community bonds if the community can't even agree on what is real. This erosion of shared truth leads to division, mistrust, and emotional exhaustion. Families are torn apart, friendships end, civil discourse collapses, and all over an idea that has been disproven for centuries. 6. Normalizing nonsense gives cover to more dangerous lies. Here's a chilling truth. Flat Earth might be one of the most harmless conspiracy theories out there, but the more we allow it to spread unchallenged, the more it opens the floodgates for Holocaust denial, anti-Semitic conspiracies, anti-science political rhetoric, pseudo-medicine, authoritarian propaganda. It starts with the Earth is flat, but it never stops there. Because once you've convinced people that everything they've ever been told is a lie, they become ripe for exploitation, politically, financially, and ideologically. In that way, normalizing flat Earth is like leaving the back door open for more extreme forms of disinformation to walk right in. So what do? We don't silence people. That only drives them deeper. But we don't entertain delusion either. What we can do, Teach media literacy from an early age. Platform facts, not false balance. Hold content creators accountable. Reinvest in science education. Talk to loved ones with compassion and clarity. And above all, refuse to treat conspiracy as just another opinion. We owe it to ourselves and the next generation to draw the line somewhere. So let's stop pretending this is harmless. Let's stop laughing it off. Because while we were chuckling, Flat Earth became a culture, a business, and a gateway drug to more destructive ideologies. You don't protect truth by staying quiet. You protect truth by naming nonsense when you see it and refusing to let it pass as normal. The Earth isn't flat, but our thinking shouldn't be either. Let's bring it home. We've just spent this episode tracing ancient knowledge, modern science, psychology, grifters, and the real dangers that come with denying reality. And if you're still wondering why it even matters, why we bother calling out something that seems so fringe and silly, the answer is simple. Ideas shape people, and people shape the world. Flat Earth belief isn't just a harmless opinion like preferring crunchy peanut butter over creamy. It's a symptom, a red flag, a visible tear in the social fabric where critical thinking is unraveling and tribalism is being sown in its place. It's tempting to laugh it off, to call it absurd and move on. But when people abandon logic in one area, that mindset can, and often does, bleed into other arenas: public health, climate change, education, even elections and civic engagement. A world where we stop demanding evidence, stop asking questions, and stop calling out misinformation is a world where anything goes. And that should scare all of us. But let me be clear, the point of this episode isn't to ridicule. It's to wake us up, because while the Earth isn't flat, our thinking shouldn't be either. We need depth, we need curiosity, we need humility, we need a willingness to learn, to grow, and yes, to be wrong sometimes. And we have to teach that mindset, model that mindset, and protect that mindset, especially for younger generations growing up in an age where a TikTok video can drown out an entire textbook. So if you're someone who values truth, science, reason, thank you. Keep speaking up. Keep questioning things responsibly. Keep pushing back against willful ignorance, no matter how loud or viral it gets. And if you've ever felt frustrated watching conspiracy culture gain traction, or just confused about how we got here, you're not alone. But you're also not powerless. We may not be able to convince every flat earther, but we can build a culture where their nonsense doesn't get celebrated, elevated, or accepted as just another side in some imaginary debate. The Earth is round, always has been, but our minds, they're what we need to keep expanding. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and please, don't fall off the edge. This is Alexandra, signing off from Cluster Fudge.